You know, for decades, the far side of the moon was a total mystery. But when we finally sent probes and people to see what was there, some of them came back with stories. Stories that were officially denied, buried, and just, dismissed. Today, we're diving straight into the source material, the first-hand accounts from former NASA employees who claim there's been a 50-year cover-up hiding what we really found up there.
Okay, so let's be clear. This isn't about some vague lights in the sky. We're going to explore this whole mystery by looking at the specific, first-hand accounts of people who were on the inside, people who worked for NASA and its contractors, and what they claim to have seen was undeniable proof of something artificial, something ancient, and something that definitely wasn't ours.
All right, we're going to start with the most powerful and, honestly, the most controversial evidence there is, the direct testimonies. We're talking about the people who say they saw proof of extraterrestrial structures on the moon with their own two eyes. These are the exact stories that NASA has worked so hard to discredit over the years.
So let's meet our first whistleblower, Carl Wolf. Now, he wasn't a high-level scientist or an astronaut. He was a U.S. airman, a specialist sent to a NASA facility back in 1965 for what was supposed to be a simple repair job. He was just there to fix a photo machine, but he claims he ended up seeing the raw, unfiltered images from the lunar orbiter before anyone had a chance to clean them up.
And get this, the way he found out is just as bizarre as the claim itself. Wolf said he was working alone in the darkroom when another airman came in, clearly shaken up, and just whispered this line to him. And then he showed Wolf the photo mosaics that would completely change his life forever.
So what did he see? Well, what Wolf described wasn't just some blurry anomaly. He said he saw clear, geometric structures. We're talking towers, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical domes. He said it looked like an entire established base. You know, the kind of thing that just could not be a natural rock formation. No way.
Years later, after he decided to go public with his story, Carl Wolf actually offered to testify under oath before the United States Congress, but he never got the chance. He was killed when a truck hit his bicycle in a hit and run, and that case, to this day, has never been solved. It just adds this really dark, really unsettling layer to his entire testimony.
Okay, so Wolf's story is one incredible piece of this puzzle, but he's not alone. Our next key figure, Dr. Ken Johnston, adds a whole other dimension. See, he worked in NASA's Lunar Receiving Laboratory, and he had one of the most critical jobs, cataloging every single photo the Apollo astronauts took. He saw everything before it was ever cleared for public viewing.
Now, this is where Johnston's story just takes an absolutely dramatic turn. He claimed that his superiors gave him a direct order to destroy the entire photographic archive, to literally erase the official record. And he followed those orders. But he secretly held back one complete set, preserving what he believed was the most important evidence in all of human history. So what was in that secret, forbidden catalog? Well, Johnston's descriptions go even further than Carl Wolf's. He talked about seeing entire ancient ruins, domed buildings, towering stone structures, and even what looked like pieces of machinery, including objects that just seemed to be defying gravity. This doesn't just suggest a base, it suggests a long history.
Look, eyewitness testimony is one thing, right? But these claims are backed up by another, equally serious allegation, that there was a systematic, official policy inside NASA to scrub this evidence from the public record before you or I could ever see it. And that brings us to Donna Hare, another NASA contractor. Her testimony is a little different. She didn't see the original photos. She claims she saw what was done to the photos. Hare alleged that she personally witnessed a colleague actively airbrushing strange objects out of the lunar pictures, a secret protocol that completely contradicts NASA's official line that photos are just processed for clarity. But the most damning part of her story, the real smoking gun, is this quote. When she asked a photo tech what on earth he was doing, he pointed to a picture and explained exactly why it wasn't just a speck on the film. It was a real physical object casting a real shadow on the moon's surface, and his job was to make it disappear. And then there's this number, 40. This comes from Army Major Robert Dean, a man with top-secret clearance who worked for NATO. He claimed he read a classified report called The Assessment, and it detailed that NASA didn't just alter photos. They completely destroyed 40 entire rolls of film from the Apollo missions. And Dean's claims didn't stop there. they seemed to back up what the others said, but with new details. He talked about specific photographs of massive cigar-shaped craft, which he alleged Neil Armstrong himself saw. He even pinpointed a location, the Landsberg crater, as the site of what he called gigantic construction and facilities.
So, okay, we've got all these detailed, decades-old claims of a massive cover-up, but why is this so urgent right now? Well, it's because after 50 years of relative quiet, humanity is suddenly rushing back to the moon with an intensity we have not seen since the 1960s. And these historical claims, they're about to collide head-on with our present-day reality. Make no mistake, we are in a full-blown international space race. China is already exploring the far side, bringing back the first-ever samples from that hidden territory. NASA's Artemis program is planning to build a permanent base on the lunar South Pole. And you've got India, Russia, Japan, and a bunch of private companies all racing to get there too.
All of this intense new activity forces a very old and very unsettling question right back into the spotlight. If these whistleblowers were telling the truth, if their warnings were real, what does that mean for our immediate future on the moon?
You see, here's the fundamental difference between then and now. Back in the Apollo era, you had two superpowers who could, theoretically, keep a lid on a secret this big. But today, the moon race involves dozens of nations and private companies. Keeping something hidden on that kind of scale becomes, well, nearly impossible. If something's there, someone's going to find it.
And that's the question, isn't it? This is the ultimate implication of all these testimonies. It forces us to move past just simple belief or disbelief and actually consider the consequences. If we confirm what Carl Wolf and Ken Johnston claim they saw all those years ago, what does humanity do the next day?
And that leaves us with this final, stark choice presented in the source material. A discovery like this wouldn't just be another scientific breakthrough. It would redefine our place in the cosmos. It could kick off the greatest era of enlightenment we've ever known. Or it could be the final chapter of the human story. The race is on, and the answer might be coming a lot sooner than any of us think.